Hi guys, it's your girl K Day. Come back out to you one more time. Welcome back to Hear Our Voices podcast. Thank you for coming on this week to the podcast and listening and watching, depending on what platform you actually see this on. So this week, as you know, we're going to be telling somebody's story about their life in homelessness in New York City. But before we get into the story, we will get a little bit more into housekeeping. Example, Kiko follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I want to say that's it, and TikTok. We're trying a little something over there, but you'll definitely see us. As you also know, we have a Spanish speaking podcast coming out later in the year, but we also need people to interview for that. So if you're a person who has resources for the Spanish community or just resources in general and you can speak Spanish, that would be greatly appreciated to have you on the podcast. Also, if you're a person with lived experience that could speak Spanish and English, or if you just could speak Spanish, well, if you know a friend who can speak Spanish, we would love to also have you on the podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. So our guest today her name is Ashley, and we'll just get into her story and how she ended up being homeless in New York City. So Ashley, you see me going, I'm looking at her pictures so you know, like she's really here with me. Okay, guys. So that's what it is. So Ashley, thank you for coming on the podcast. I just want to say that.
Thank you for having me.
And can you tell us a little bit how you end up like how do you end up homeless in the first place in New York City?
Okay, so I was living with my son. He was actually 5 years old at the time. His name is TJ. And I was with my husband. We were living in a small studio apartment in Queens. So what happened was the landlord was planning to increase the rent. He was going to increase about $400 more. So mind you, we're in a small studio and I have no kitchen. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Hold on, stop it right there. You have no kitchen?
Yeah, it was just a very small studio, just pretty much a room and a bathroom.
Oh my God.
So at that time, yeah, it was crazy.
That's legal, to be honest. That sounds illegal, for real. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So, at that time, I just wanted to get out of my mother's house. So I just was taking anything. I just wanted to go.
Got it.
So, we were there for about a year. And then once he told me that he was going to increase the rent, I was just like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense because, I don't have a kitchen and I can't afford it. Right. At that time, I was a social worker assistant working full time, and my husband was working at CVS part time. So, but it still wasn't enough. Two incomes, it really wasn't enough. So at that time, I told him, you know what? I'm just gonna have to cancel my lease. I can't do another year, and I'm gonna have to move out. So I had moved back to my mother's house in Brooklyn. So I was there for about 6 months. And then finally I got tired of, living with family because, one, there wasn't enough space. And you know how sometimes living with family can be a lot of drama, a lot of chaos. Yes. So, so after a couple months, I was like, okay, we got to go. I can't. So after that, I said, you know what? We're just going to have to go into a family shelter. So we actually went in New Year's Day. So this was January of New Year's Day, 2020. So this is right before COVID was about to start. So they ended up moving us in a family shelter right there in Brooklyn on Blake Avenue. So we was there for a couple of months, but then we had to move from there because they were planning to demolish all those shelter buildings right there. I guess they want to build something else. So the city took over.
Probably luxury buildings, which is sad.
Yeah, exactly. When we really don't need more of those, we need more, right. More schools and more shelters. But
right.
So we were there for a couple months, and then the caseworker had came to me and she was like, do you mind moving to a motel in Queens? At that time, my son was doing school on Zoom, so it was fine. Right. So we ended up moving to Queens at the Westway Motel right there. What is it? In Astoria, Queens, by the highway. So we ended up being there for about a year. And the caseworkers there, to be honest, they didn't really help me. And they just kept telling me, you have to open up a PA case, SNAP benefits case. And I kept telling them, I can't open up a public assistance case because I work. They keep saying that me and my husband's income, we make too much. So they would not open up a case.
You know why? The way the shelter gets paid for the rooms is when your case is open. So even if you don't have a case, they want you to go there so they know that you're in a shelter, so they could pay the rent for the, like, you don't personally pay, but the city pays the shelter. And trust me, it's probably like 4,000 or more for your room at the shelter, which is crazy.
It's a headache. I went to the HRA office like 5 times. I kept telling them, like, I just need a case open to stay at the shelter. If not, they're gonna tell me to move. And the case reg said, oh, you might have to pay a certain amount, certain percentages as rent. I was okay with that, because I didn't want to get kicked out. No. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was just like, I just don't want to leave. I don't want to get kicked out. I don't have nowhere else to go. So if I have to pay a percentage, it's fine. But after that, they really didn't ask for that. And because of COVID, they were very lenient, I want to say. Like, they really, we have curfew, but nobody was really following it. They really wasn't asking us no questions. Because curfew was 10 p.m. Everyone had to be inside. But staying there was different because, yes, it was smaller than the room that we had in Brooklyn. And there was no stove. In Brooklyn, we had a stove, so we was able to cook. So in that little motel, there was only one little hot plate. So, I would try to make breakfast on their lunch, But a lot of times I had to probably eat out because, you can't really cook like a whole full, whole full meal on a little hot plate. Right. So, it was different. It was a lot. And also, so now COVID started. So March 2020, COVID started, and it was crazy because, a lot of caseworkers did not want to meet with us in person because they didn't know who had it. They swear they want to get sick in 5 minutes. So we weren't meeting with our caseworker weekly because we had to meet with the caseworker every week. It was just pretty much over the phone. They will call us if they need documents, and we'll just slide it in their mailbox. And like everybody was freaking out. Thank God, me and my family, we didn't catch COVID till about 2 years later. Cause like my husband, he was like, as soon as we came in the house, we was Lysoling all the clothes. Yeah. And we only went to the grocery store, do food shopping, and to the laundromat. That was it. Other than that, we wasn't going nowhere else for months. Wow. So it was me too. It was tough. I ain't gonna lie. It was very stressful, you know what I'm saying? And I did get a little depressed because May 2020, I had a miscarriage. So I was 5 months pregnant. Yeah, I'm okay. So I was 5 months pregnant, and then all of a sudden, I was almost there, and it didn't happen. So that was traumatizing because now I'm in the shelter. Then I was scared to even go to the ER because I'm like, oh my God, they might kick me out because I was gonna have to be in the hospital for 3 days. So, but I did tell my caseworker, what was happening. And the security there, they did notice, okay, she's in a lot of pain, something's going on. Right. And then, because I was just scared, like, oh my God, they're going to probably kick me out because I'm not going to be here for 2-3 days because they were strict on, attendance. You cannot leave. If you left after 48 hours, that was it. Yeah. You're not able to come back to get your room. So at that time, I was really depressed because, I really wanted the baby. I really wanted that. But, everything happens for a reason, and God did that for a reason. Right. And then 2 months later, I got pregnant again. And then I had my daughter. Yes. My daughter's 2 years old. Her name is Serenity. So then I had her. So, she was my rainbow baby. Mm-hmm. So I was there. When did I leave? So we did about a year and a half. Then Christmas Eve 2021, we ended up finding an apartment on the Housing Connect. Now with the Housing Connect, now I've been applying since like 2012, no lie. Okay, finally I get an email. I know how you feel. It's a headache. So finally I get an email. They're like, oh, you got approved. But then they tell me they denied me because of one of my documents. So I appealed it. Right. I said, you know what? I'm gonna send my appeal letter because this doesn't sound right. I send all my documents. I'm very organized. I'm on point. So they messed up. Finally, when I sent the appeal letter 2 weeks later, then they told me I was approved. And I explained to them that, I have emails with the timestamp and the day when I sent all my documents. So if that person lost it, that's on them. That has nothing to do with me. Right. And thank God they approved me right away. And then we moved in New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve, 2021. And then, so I finally have an apartment. It's a 1-bedroom. But to be honest, I just want to get out my situation, get out the shelter because it's stressful, and then there's no stability, because at any time they can tell you to move to another location because it is, or because of that, so at least now, I'm able to give my kids, stability now, you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, okay, we have a home. It's probably not big enough, but I think at least we're not at the shelter. We're not in a box. We're not in a park. You know what I'm saying? You still have a bed. You're still getting a home cooked meal, because those are just the simple things that we didn't have before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's why I try to, that's why I try to teach my kids. And I tell my son, you have to be grateful for everything you have in life because there's other people, other kids in other countries, they don't have the things that we have.
Not even other countries in New York. Like,
no, yeah, definitely. New York too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that's homeless and in the system. It's really bad. And it's sad because they just keep making more jails instead of making more schools and more educational programs. Like there should be more art therapy programs for the kids. Because my son, he's special needs as well. He has ADHD.
Okay.
So that can be, a little challenging, with his behaviors in school and things like that. One thing I could say, when he was doing the Zoom during COVID, he didn't like it at all. He did not like, because, he's not able to see his friends. He's not able to do gym, things like that. And it was hard because I noticed a lot of kids, they didn't really learn much during COVID, those past 2.5 years.
I think it depends on the school you went to be honest. I feel, and also the age of the kids, I think will also it. I feel like if you are higher in the grade, it was much easier to kind of not get it because there's so much. I'm saying your parents don't have as much control over you when you're so much older. I think when you're younger, your parents are kind of on more on top of you. Like my daughter at the time was starting, I don't say kindergarten, and her school was excellent. Like I could honestly say she learned a lot. She read a lot. She was past grade level in reading. She's on par for math. But I think it depends on what kind of school. If it's like, and also her school started on time and they didn't play. Like we got a whole supply. We went to the school, got a whole supply box of things that she would pay on because we don't pay for certain things in our school. Like any books, laptops, it's all free. The only thing we pay for is uniform. So I think it depends what kind of school setting you are. And public school also started later than other schools.
Yeah. Is she in a charter?
She is in a charter.
So charter schools are more better, kind of more organized. Like my son's in public school, and I just feel like after COVID, I feel like a lot of the teachers kind of gave up, I want to say, because they're short staffed. They are working hard. I'm not gonna lie. They don't get paid a lot. But I did notice that there's a lot of teachers that are quitting because of the students' behaviors and also, I guess, because of the money. But I would say, like, now he gets homework maybe 3 times a week. So it's not like every day. So I kind of like make my own homework for him and things like that. Like, so some of the teachers, they say they just don't want the kids to feel overwhelmed because they do work them a lot during the day.
I don't know about that.
But with me, like, I just feel like, he has to have some type of assignment every day just to keep him, his brain stimulated and to understand different things, because his reading is low. So that's something that I'm working on now. His math, he's great in math, excellent in math, but the reading.
Most boys are, tend to be better in math.
And I think because of the COVID and learning from online, it didn't help. And then sometimes, parents didn't want to do homework, you know what I'm saying? And that was one of them. Sometimes it's like, listen, I had a long day. I'm not doing this right now, So, it was definitely tough, I want to say. But, thank God, we got through it, and the best advice I would say is just like what kept me going was my kids, one. Number two, I just kept saying like, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be here because I have heard people that was living there for 10 years. I never heard of that.
I'll be like, what?
I didn't even know you could do that.
Like, where they do that at? New York City.
Like a time limit that you have to leave. Like I never heard of that. And one of the caseworkers told me that, there's a lady that's living here for 10 years and she's very comfortable. I'm like, I don't think that can't be me. I was like, no, I can't.
I was there for a year and I was there for the 1 year and I was done. I was like, I'm out of here.
And then on top of that, the residents, my son, he would want to go play outside and they would let their kids play outside by themselves. Me, I'm not letting my son go outside and play.
Exactly.
So he would get upset because he's like, oh, I want to play with my friend. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. And then we did notice that if one of the kids, that would pick on each other, then the parents want to fight and argue. Like, I don't got time for none of that drama. I was like, no, we're not going outside.
You're too old for that, first of all, to fight with.
Exactly. We already have enough going on. I don't need to catch a case. I don't need extra. in my life. No, like, and then sometimes the residents will argue with the security because their Amazon packages will disappear. And I guess sometimes the security, I guess, will take it or they will misplace it. I don't know. But at night, you would hear residents arguing and fighting with the security late at night when we was in the
gosh. That
was like an everyday thing. Like people just mad. And it's like me, I would have my package sent somewhere else to my mom's house, somebody else's house, because I didn't want to deal with that drama either. But the good thing is that, once we moved out, thank God we have our place. And also me and my husband, we started a photo booth business.
Ooh.
Yes, it's called so we're called you can follow us on Instagram. It's called Gold, like the color, dots, order, ORDER 360 photo booth. So we definitely
that's what I thought
that.
It was gonna be. The one we go in a circle, right? You go
yes, it does a 360.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. And you can have the props for all occasions. We do all events. We do New York and New Jersey. So we're about to make a year with our business company. In July we'll make a year. We've been
definitely, we could link you in this video and we could also put it on Instagram for you.
Yes, please, because we definitely want to get more clients. We do have one event coming up in May. I would like to have at least 6 events this summer. We already had about 2. So, little by little, we're getting there, just getting our name out there, working on the website, things like that. So that's what I'm saying. I came from the gutter. I didn't have nothing 3 years ago, but you gotta have a plan. You have to have a vision. You can't give up. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to scream, but you're not allowed to give up. You gotta get back up no matter what. True. You gotta find someone that motivation. You gotta find something that motivates, whether it's your kids, your dreams, a vision that you see. You gotta find something to motivate yourself to keep yourself going. Because if not, you will stay trapped in this dark cave and just not want to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But it's life isn't easy. It really isn't. But you gotta just try your best. Don't give up and go through the challenges and be ready. And also I want to say,
guys, thank you for coming this far in the podcast. It's kind of juicy. You feel me? It's very juicy information coming up. So please go check out her Instagram page and support her. She's a fellow homeless person. Well, ex-homeless person, I could say. And she has a story as you're hearing right now. And I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Also, can you please share us on social media? Come and be a part of our family on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. We would love to have you over there. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.